the Holy Spirit was definitely at work this week. I think I more so saw the movement of the Spirit in the small groups, the working groups, each working on a question of the agenda. I think the process of discernment, those spiritual conversations, were a really great way for us to be open and to really intently listen for the voice of the Spirit. I think when we enter into those sort of more spiritual conversations, we have no choice but to lay aside some of our own thoughts and ideas and agendas and really be open to hear what the Spirit was saying. And as we shared and listened for the collective voice of the Spirit in the group, you could see that there were some common themes starting to arise, and that was really encouraging. I think it's been an interesting space. I feel like, I think Archbishop Tim Costello mentioned that, first of all, we're there as representatives of ourselves, representing the unique encounters we each have with God and with the church. And so I've sort of been bringing that representation of the Townsville diocese, which is quite unique. Being a remote and widespread diocese, there's experiences, and you hear that in some of the conversations, that perhaps the experiences of people in sort of more smaller, remote churches like we have in Townsville are quite different to those of the larger, sort of more urban diocese. And so been bringing all of those experiences, and then obviously being now with the Missionaries of God's Love Sisters, I tend to bring that experience as well. And so having all these different ways of being and encountering the church and living in the church, bringing all that into my discernment, into my prayer, and into the conversations that we've been having has been quite interesting. I think that was something that felt like my horizons had sort of been opened in a totally new way, because I feel like growing up in North Queensland and really only seeing the church in North Queensland, and then now in Canberra, you sort of only get glimpses of the whole picture. There's so much diversity, there's very rich and various traditions and ways of being Catholic that I hadn't been exposed to. And so you hear some of the different experiences of people in our conversations, and you see just how even in some of the suggestions or some of the definitions even of some of the concepts we're talking about and things we're trying to discern, everyone sees it quite differently, and there's not one way of being Catholic. And I think I knew that, but it's just sort of blown my eyes open in a whole new way of seeing that, we really are a diverse church, and there's a beauty in that, but there's also a complexity when we're starting to talk about concrete proposals, because they're going to be sort of interpreted and be applicable in different ways depending on where people are, both in that tradition and diversity, but also where they are geographically in the church.